Welcome to PPR podcast number 88, brought to you by the San Diego Strike Force. My name is Rudy, and to my right is the star of the podcast, the renowned,
yes,
highly acclaimed,
all that,
critically acclaimed, award-winning journalist, Mr. Bert Grossmont. Bert, how are you doing?
I'm doing fine, Paul.
Would you like to introduce our guest?
I would. Anthony Lawrence, God, how many titles? Grossmont star, USD star, now Grossmont, as you put on Twitter, head ball coach.
Head ball coach, baby. I'm excited.
You're kind of young to put head ball coach down on social media.
I am. Definitely young, definitely new school, but really looking forward to it.
Well, first of all, this makes you the youngest head coach in the county, does it not?
I saw that floating around on Twitter. I didn't check it, but it's pretty exciting, pretty awesome.
Yeah, hearty congratulations. Last you and I talked, you were playing professional football in the land of the rising sun, were you not?
I was, yeah. After USD, obviously had the dream of going to the NFL, and that didn't shake out. So just loved playing ball. Wanted to play anywhere I could. So went out to Japan for 3 seasons and had a blast out there.
And how was that out there? What's the difference out there like for football?
In terms of football, nothing really changes. And that was one of the coolest parts of being out there is, when I first touched down, it was obviously a massive culture shock. Didn't see anyone who spoke English who looked like me. But as soon as we got on the field, football is football. So I felt right at home.
Can I just follow up on that? Because what was the hardest? All I can think of, Anthony, is the movie Lost in Translation with Bill Murray, and just just getting around, driving the streets.
Have you seen the traffic there?
All that stuff. I mean, how hard was it? I mean, did you go, mommy? Because I'd be mommy.
Pretty much, yeah. It was difficult, honestly. Not knowing any Japanese. No one there really speaks English, but having a great support system. The team, having a few other Americans out there with me. It was a challenge, but it was fun. Took every day as it came and just tried to get around, learn the train system. Started riding my bike a lot more. Walked around, just figured it out as it went, and it was a blast.
Would you ever go back?
I for sure would. I made so many close relationships out there. Some of my best friends are now Japanese and can barely speak English. So those connections and those relationships, I'm definitely gonna try to make it a somewhat frequent, travel spot.
I get feeling that because Paul and I are good friends, and you've seen him on PPR. He can barely speak English too, so I know exactly what you're saying right now. But thank you.
It's a tough language.
Hey, so let me ask you, because we get on here, and the first thing I notice, you look like you're up for the Silver Pigskin Gala next year. Is it crazy to you? Because the difference is if I turn on an NFL game. You're old enough to be an NFL head coach, and it's normal now. But in high school, we still tend to see.
No, he's not. He's 28.
Well, we see 30-year-old NFL coaches now. We're not even seeing 30-year-old high school coaches. When does that catch up?
Hold on now, Paul. Don't age. I'm 26. Don't age me too much.
All right, I'm sorry.
Don't age me too much now.
But I could see him on the NFL sideline right now, and I'd be okay with it. But high school, I'd be like, what's he doing?
Well, yeah. Could you talk about what are the I think if I could finish the question from my esteemed colleague, what are the perks of being young, and what are the drawbacks of being only 26 years old?
I think the perks are just I'm fresh out of playing, not necessarily fresh out of playing high school ball, but fresh out of college, very young, still relatable, kind of, see the kids and I feel like they can relate to me a little bit. Obviously the cons are, experience, just not being on this side for too long, but I think, putting together a staff that's had a lot of high school experience, some young guys, some old guys, a good mix of guys with energy, young guys who are ready to roll, and then old guys who've been around it a lot. Three of the coaches on the staff coached me in high school. So cool. Having that connection, having that relationship is going to be awesome.
Who are they?
Coach Goodrich was my offensive coordinator sophomore year, and then Coach O-line junior and senior year. Coach Candy was coaching D-line when I was there, and Coach Curiel was my quarterback coach.
Oh, that is so cool.
It's really awesome, and just seeing it come full circle has been amazing.
But I'm telling you, be careful because trends changed on high school campuses real quick. Like back in your day, it was G's up till I freeze up. I don't think that would go over right now. I think it's changed by now.
I don't know. I really like it. The rhyme, all of it kind of
You
flows
bring it
together.
back?
Yep.
So I got another question because you had Dale Lindsey, right, at USD?
Yes, sir.
He was the linebacker coach when I was with the Chargers, and he despised me because he had some dream that I was supposed to keep the offensive linemen off the linebackers, which wasn't even in my thought pattern. But God, he was such a. I would never expect him to coach now because he was a Southern hardcore back then. Is he softened up a little bit?
He has a little bit, starting to get a little more emotional, getting on the, touchy-feely side a little bit, but not that far. I don't want to overstate it, but yeah, Coach Lindsey, going from Coach Carlo to Coach Lindsey was such a big shift. And just how much respect I have for Coach Lindsey and how he was able to build a culture of toughness and discipline that, I kind of took for granted as a player, me being a quarterback, wanting to throw it around. We didn't always completely see eye to eye, but now, being on his staff and being on the other side, just have such an admiration and respect for the man.
Well, it's a great story. I mean, giving back to the community. There's so many things that people in my industry just eat up. But then there comes a day where the rubber meets the road and you have to play football and their Helix is on the schedule and maybe your kids aren't as good as some of the other kids that are lining up against. When does that reality set in?
I think that reality probably won't set in until week one, until we're actually out there playing. But Grossmont has always been a special place, obviously, to me, but to the community as well. And I feel like I want to say we've had one FBS scholarship guy in the last maybe 20 years. So obviously, don't have the talent and maybe athletes that, some of the other schools do, but Grossmont has always just had a toughness and a discipline. We always like to call it the grit house just because, we're gritty, hard workers, never going to quit on ourselves, never going to be out of the fight.
And you say that, I mean, and I guess one of the things being young is you don't experience much failure when you're young. So do you manage expectations when you come in there and say, hey, the first couple of years we're building this, it's not going to be CIF championship, or do you guys just come in there and be like, we're going to turn around in year one?
No, yeah, we're hitting the ground running. And I've, talked to the other coaches on the staff. I've always been a dreamer, been an optimist, thought we were going to win state, when I was a sophomore in high school, thought we were going to win a national championship when I was a freshman in college. So we're going to hit the ground running. We're going to win now. Obviously there's going to be losses. There's always losses in football. Things always don't go as planned, but no, we're hitting the ground running. We're going to start winning now. And that's going to start today, in the weight room and getting all that stuff going.
Well, Anthony, I think the first goal should be making sure that when you play Helix, the Musket, they think to bring the Musket to the game. Because the way it is now, they don't even break it out of the it's not
don't bother you.
Yeah, so if the Musket's at the game, that's a victory for you.
Absolutely. And, it's when I was in high school, Coach Carlo was still the last guy to beat Helix, and that's still as it stands. So definitely going to at least bring the Musket to the game, at least get it off whatever, lock and bolt it's been under for 30 years. At least, that's the first goal, like you said.
And what do you do? I mean, I'm fascinated by it because it's kind of, you're almost going into spring football. Do you start with youth football? Do you just concentrate on what you have there? I mean, are you already starting, not recruiting, but laying the pipeline down? Because, you need everybody needs a youth program to start playing there, and you have to go visit middle schools, or do you have so much on your plate right now in such a little amount of time that's going to be next year?
Yeah, as far as all that, it's my focus is what we have on campus right now, trying to get, everyone who could and should be playing football, get them out for spring and get them running around and just building the numbers up and getting a full roster. Like you guys have said, I'm young. I don't know. Obviously, I don't know the high school game, the high school schedule, the high school timeline. I've been more comfortable with the college game, but leaning on a lot of resources and just using the community to my advantage and kind of delegating and getting people on board who can help us out with that stuff is going to be very, very massive.
Absolutely.
And are you on campus now? Do you have an on-campus job?
I'm not. I'll be in there for the weight room class, and I'll be on campus every day, but I do not have an on-campus job now.
You mentioned program numbers. Right now, how many kids do you think are going to play tackle football at Grossmont High?
So we just had a football meeting, just to introduce the new coach and some of the new staff. We had about 130 guys out there, so that's not including the freshman class. Don't know how many are actually going to fall through, but would love to have, over 100 between varsity and JV this upcoming season.
Well, a lot of programs would be envious of those kind of numbers, Anthony.
Absolutely. And Grossmont's a big school, and it's always had a long tradition of great school spirit, great participation. So trying to get those numbers up and tapping into what Grossmont's really best at.
So how'd this all come about? Did you pursue the job? Did they pursue you? A little of both? How'd this work?
So I had left USD. The coaching staff just wasn't exactly, I had realized two things: that I love coaching ball, and I'll probably be doing it for the rest of my life. And also that maybe the college coaching industry and profession and scene wasn't for me, at least not right now. So I had left and, let people know that I wanted to get into high school coaching. And then the principal that had reached out to me maybe last Saturday and just said, hey, we have an opening. Do you have any interest in it? And I didn't think it's what I was going to be doing this year, but once the opportunity was presented, I felt like it would be crazy to pass it up.
What was disenchanting about the college game to you?
It was just a little, like, it was businessy, college football, and obviously NFL is even more so. But just felt a little less pure than high school. And then the grind of it was crazy. I knew the coaches were putting in hours and grinding for us when I was a player, but really just didn't appreciate and didn't recognize what they were doing behind the scenes until I was living in it. And so just the grind of it just wasn't what I was looking for in life and for the experience, to be honest.
Be careful what you wish for. You're going to find the grind in high school. The only difference is you're going to have
Less
one
paid.
helper instead of three helpers. And
Checks can be smaller.
I mean, every time I've taken a job to lighten my workload, inevitably it's been harder than the gig I had prior. So,
And the other
Absolutely.
good part, you don't have to deal with parents in college and the pros. You'll find that one out too.
So I've got definitely a lot of rude awakenings coming for me, but
You do.
But it's at a place I love more than anything, and a community I have been a part of since I was born, and just really ready for the challenges and obstacles.
So when you got the principal call, were you shocked? Was it just out of the blue? I mean, how's that feel? Or did you see it coming?
I had thought potentially, and maybe not necessarily out of the blue, but definitely surprising, just being young, not having a ton of experience. But the principal is actually my best friend from high school's dad. So, I had a close relationship with him. And
All right.
yeah. And we
You're
had
in trouble now, all right?
no, maybe. But, just so much respect for the school and the program. And, obviously Coach Carlos still on campus. The coaches I mentioned previously are still on campus. So, just kind of felt like the right thing to do. And knowing I'll have a big support system is, a massive reason for taking the job.
So is that something you want to go into? I mean, teaching afterwards? I mean, young and you start to get there. Is it go the teacher route now, the administrator route? Is it going to be school for you full time?
Honestly, I don't know. That's obviously not a great answer. But just kind of taking everything day by day and, having a little bit tucked away from Japan has been nice. So it's not, not a huge pressure on me right now, but really trying to figure out what I'm going to enjoy day to day. And I don't think I've ever really lived a normal, cookie cutter life. So doing things differently is something I pride myself on and going to plan on keep doing that.
I almost think, Anthony, I always try to put myself in other people's shoes. And like when I heard this news, I was thinking there's almost an advantage in not knowing what you don't know. Mm-hmm. So you can make all your mistakes are going to be original to you, and let's face it, they're going to have a lot of slack in the chain because the story, as I opened up with, is too good to be true. It's a welcome home Cotter thing.
Absolutely.
Cotter. No, it's Cotter.
Welcome back, Cotter.
Yeah.
Welcome back, Cotter. I mean, you're going to have a lot of slack in the chain. There's just no other way to describe it. You're beloved in this neck of the woods.
Absolutely. And don't want to take too much advantage of that. I want to definitely be hard on myself. And my whole career, my whole life in anything, sports, school, whatever it may be, I've always been my biggest critic. I've always been my hardest judge. So I'm gonna hopefully get some slack from the community and from the school and the admin, but always going to be hard on myself. Always going to be working to be better. And like you said, make those mistakes original. I'm doing this because I want to do it my way. And, I have a lot of ideas that I've been brainstorming since I was a freshman in high school. Since I was playing, I was like, maybe what if we did it this way?
Like
what if we,
like, give us an idea.
no, I can't give away all the secrets, but one thing that I've always wondered is why don't teams run more trick plays? I love trick plays. It gets everyone involved. So I think one thing that can be sure is we're going to have a lot of fun and get a lot of people involved in trick plays. That's just, one example of it.
A lot of Philly specials.
What do you consider a lot of trick plays? How many a game?
Yeah, the goal is right now, the loose goal is 1 a quarter. So at least 4 a game. I think, they're just fun. There's something the defense has to prepare for. There's something that give defensive coordinators a lot of trouble. And I think that's going to be a mainstay throughout this whole time, is just talking to other coaches and seeing what gives them trouble, what's been successful for them, what hasn't, just learning from others.
I got a question because something caught my ear earlier. You said you're still living off that Japan money. How much did you make?
A good amount. I don't know.
Jeez, how much
Because I'm
how
curious.
much did you make?
I'm curious. But I made mine in the NFL, so we had to pay taxes. So when you're in Japan, do you have to pay U.S. taxes? I'm gonna get you in trouble everywhere tonight.
Yeah, I'm saying, man, dang. So I pay taxes in Japan and then file in America. So it's not. I don't pay taxes in America because I'm living out there for 9 months when I was out there. So I'm paying in Japan, and they paid for housing, and it was a nice little setup. But it's not forever. So gotta figure that out here pretty soon.
When you say it's not forever, would you have stayed a 4th season, or was that an option, or were you done?
It was an option, but no, I think I was kind of just done. Like I said, I love playing ball, and I would love to play until I'm 45, like Tom Brady. But it just being out there for 9 months was
hard,
just too big of a commitment. Yeah, it was hard being away from family and being away from everyone. So
I get that. But I mean, were you slinging it? Could you play?
Oh, I was slinging it, and I'm gonna, last year when I was coaching receivers at USD, I was in practice, throwing that thing around, letting them know like I still got it, and it's unfortunate, how it works, but obviously I felt like I was playing my best ball in my 3rd season out there, so just ran out of people to give me opportunities to play in America. So
it must. I was wondering what was going through your mind watching Josh Johnson be almost. He could have been a couple touchdowns shy of making it to the Super Bowl because we knew the kid Purdy wasn't going to come back. His elbow was shot, and had they not run into the buzzsaw that was Philadelphia, Josh Johnson could have played in the Super Bowl after playing for. As a fellow USD quarterback, I assume a lot was going through your head watching that, were you not?
Oh, absolutely. I was tapped in, and as soon as they mentioned Purdy had an elbow injury, obviously in this game, you're never, ever rooting for anyone to get hurt. But once he had an injury, I knew Josh was going to go in, and was just so excited for him, for USD, for the opportunity, and just really, really devastated that he went down with a concussion, because I really felt like he was throwing it well and he would have put them in a chance to win.
They scored, I think his first drive, and I thought, oh wow,
yeah,
they're at home.
Me actually,
they have that great, and then, oh geez, it just kind of came
yeah.
out. But you know what? It was a Herculean task. It was to go in.
Absolutely.
That was. It would have been it would have been bigger than your Cinderella story.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I have a question on Gross. So what should because we're not there yet, but we're getting there for PPR. What should I put your odds down for PPR Coach of the Year this year?
Honestly, the Coach of the Year, I think I've put myself in a great position just with the staff and the assistants I have. I know I'm going to have people who care, people who love the game, who love the players. So it's going to be it takes a village, and with Coach of the Year, only the head guy gets the recognition. But I've put myself in a really good spot, I think, with the staff. I know the guys are going to work hard, and maybe I got a decent chance. I don't know how it all works.
We should have a newcomer of the year too.
Yeah, maybe we will. Anthony, the trick now, things have changed since when you were playing at high school level. I know the Forcier brothers were maybe bopping around, but now everybody is going from school to school. Keeping kids at Grossmont, how do you keep like Helix and Steel Canyon and all those other schools that come along, and Mount Miguel will now be cherry picking. What are you going to do about that?
Yeah, I just hope to build a culture and build an environment that kids want to be at. I think there's a lot of good and some bad that come from this transfer stuff. I love the idea of a community staying together. And, at Grossmont, when I was there, I was playing with guys who I grew up with from, 5 years old. So hoping to build some of that back up and really just, not forcing these kids or parents to make any decisions, but hopefully providing them with a really good spot, really good environment, really good energy that they want to come be a part of and that they want to stay at.
I think he's in the part. You're a quarterback. You're a legend there. Is there going to be a Anthony 7-on-7 special team?
I don't believe so. I love all the passing tournaments and stuff. I don't believe we're going to have a specific one. That's just, and maybe that's a year 2 thing, but just in terms of hitting the ground running, I don't think we're going to do that this year. No.
Who are you going to turn to? I mean, at the end of the day, who do you look to for advice on all this?
Oh, Coach Carlo. I think he's still on campus, and I think, regardless of level, as far as coaches I've been around, I can't imagine anyone's going to be much better than him. He was how he ran the program, how he ran practices, how he did everything. There was a reason we were perennially top 10 and always competing, always never out of a game. So I'm going to be leaning on him a lot for advice for everything. Just how to treat the players, how to run practice, how to run schedules, all that stuff.
See, that would be the hardest part for me. You could put it. You did it before, right? I mean,
No, I never did.
You could do a practice plan.
No.
Like I just getting through
That's
calisthenics.
what coordinators are for.
But I mean, no, Anthony, I'm being serious because everyone who watches this knows I would love to be in the middle seat here and have you be in my chair. I wanted to do what you're doing. I wanted to be a high school coach.
I don't think it's too late.
Well,
I think you still got. I think you still
right.
got it.
Well, in a couple of years, maybe when I'm done on this side, I'll come work on your staff. But
What position would you coach?
well, that's the thing. What would you let me coach? You let me coach special teams?
You coach quarterbacks. if you want.
Freshman special teams. I like it right
I
away.
like fresh.
I'm not the dodo you think I
No,
am. I
but
understand.
you got to earn your stripes. Freshman special teams coordinator.
Well, whatever it took.
I'll give you a coordinator
I guarantee
title.
you, no one would be in there later, or no one would be in there before me, and no one would be out later than me.
There we go.
I'm a gym rat when it comes to this stuff. I love it.
There we go.
The X's and O's. I really do.
It's fun. It's fun. The
What are you
scheme,
doing?
all of
right,
it.
now say your next.
You have
smile.
one freshman. So I want to ask that question because people don't understand. They say, oh, you're the head coach of Grossmont. But they don't understand you have to get varsity staff, you have to put JV, you have to put freshmen. Has that been hard, all 3 levels?
Yeah, it has. And with, everything kind of moving so quick, very lucky to have a freshman, staff that's been a mainstay since before I was there. So that staff is good to go every year. And then putting together varsity and JV has been difficult, it's hard, people work jobs and figuring it out, but, been able to put some stuff together and really excited for the staffs we've been building and, got to fill some stuff out, but it's looking really good. I'm optimistic.
All right, let's ask him the question. Let's see if he answers this right. I want you.
Oh, man.
I want you to try to answer this one correct. So don't jump at it.
Okay.
What was your fondest high school football memory?
Whew. It's got to be between, honestly, just any time I was able to interact with PPR. So whether that's the Silver Pigskin Gala.
Oh my God! Seriously.
Post-game interviews. It's hard to decide between those, but I think that's got to be it.
Well, the right answer, I'll accept that one. The right answer was the Silver Pigskin Gala. That was
perfect.
All right, what was your worst?
Oh man, worst. Got to be honestly, the last game I played was tough. Senior year against Carlsbad, thought we had a really good team, a really good chance to beat them, and never want to blame external factors, but kind of played in a monsoon, and that didn't help the Grossmont up tempo heavy pass system.
What do you think on this year? So you watch enough of it now. Who do you like? If you could say right now, who are going to be the 4 teams in the Open this coming year? Predict it for me.
Oh man,
how do you do that?
I can predict that
right
now.
All right. Well, then after he's done, you do it.
Let's say Cathedral. I've been at Torrey Pines. I think they're still holding it down. I don't know about returners, but Poway's been good. Granite's been really good, but I don't know if they'll make it. And then I got to give some love to East County, so let's say Helix.
I do like Helix.
Helix, Lincoln.
Lincoln, forgot Lincoln. Yep.
Carlsbad.
Is Carlsbad's loaded again.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they got the
And then
the Alabama commit quarterback.
Yeah.
Yep.
I like Lincoln, Carlsbad, Helix, and then I would probably go with. I don't. That's Granite's not in one, so they can't go in. Cathedral. You never know.
That's right.
Saints got a lot of young guys coming back.
Madison, maybe?
Madison's always in there.
Who's got the good quarterbacks? San Marcos' kid, he'll be a sophomore?
Yeah.
Pete,
You give him Del Norte's good. A lot of new ones, yeah.
Right now, to me, the if I had to say, it's Lincoln, Carlsbad, Helix are my three at this moment. At this moment. I'll have to see
Lincoln, Carlsbad,
I have to
Helix.
look at Cathedral always is
I got
good.
Grossmont in there, too.
And you know what?
I like it.
I'll tell you who there's a
Unprecedented.
sleeper.
All right.
Maybe not this year, but down the road is St. Augustine. Look out for the Saints.
Yeah, I'm going
'Cause they're
Grossmont
young
for
and they're coming back.
Y'all still do pregame and postgame at the Charcoal House?
I don't believe so. I might have to
You're
bring
out
that
of my
back.
opening.
Might have to bring that back.
Anthony, moms and dads that come to you saying, hey, little Joey, he wants to play football, but we think it's too dangerous. What do you say to those parents?
Yeah, definitely the first thing is, I understand their concerns. It is an inherently very violent game. But I think, everyone who plays understands that risk and they still play for a reason. I also listening to Nick Barnett's interview, like he said, it's the safest the game has ever been. So, that's a big factor, learning new techniques, every single year, every day, trying to increase the safety of the game is important. And then just the overall life lessons you learn in football, I think, outweigh the dangers and the risks of, health injuries, just the discipline, the teamwork, the brotherhood, the bonds you create, outweigh most of the health risks, in my opinion.
So that's, it's interesting. You brought up Nick Barnett. So you're 26, right? You're sandwiched between Nick Barnett on the podcast as a new high school coach and Eric Weddle next week as a new high school coach.
What a
That's a little
person to
intimidating,
follow.
I think.
It is extremely, those guys are awesome, and just watching them and rooting for them and seeing them play at the highest level has been awesome. And it's humbling for sure to be sandwiched between those guys.
And kind of cool because you imagine you grow up in middle school, high school, you're watching these guys on the NFL, and then
Now you're coaching.
and then you're coaching against them, you're in between them right away. That's got to be cool. Who would have been for you?
What's that?
You're two high school, like two guys you watched when you were growing up.
That went on to become high school coaches?
Yeah.
I don't know that I can. You.
Wow.
You'd be one of them.
You're older than me. What are you talking about? God. This is why you can't be more than a freshman special teams coordinator.
Anthony, hey, just before we let you go, because this is wrapping up. We brought up Julian Sayin, and obviously, he's a special athlete, and we have several other special athlete quarterbacks. As a quarterback who was also pretty special, could you talk about what they all have in common? What's the common ingredient that makes a good quarterback good?
In my opinion, obviously there's been a ton of different molds of quarterbacks who have won games. And, I think the two things it comes down to is wanting to win more than anyone on the field and being a leader of men. And there's a lot of different ways to do both of those. But, being the hardest worker and, really willing your team to wins is important. And then getting everybody on board and, getting everyone to believe in you and to be able to tell the team, get on my back and follow me and we're going to be all right. I think those are the two biggest things. And, Hudson Herbert is the quarterback coming back at Grossmont. And, I think he has both of those things. Really, really, really looking forward to getting to work with him.
I think we saw that. I saw that anyway because we went on through the seniors last year. You saw KJ Chatham and Dom Nankill really, really, really step it up in every phase and lead during the playoffs and the state runs.
You bring up Dom. How's Dom going to do over on the Toreros campus?
Excited. I'm really excited for him. I was able to go out to some spring practices and meet him, and he's early enrolled there, which is crazy. I think it's the second. I was talking to one of the coaches who's been on staff forever, and I think it's the second time in USD history that's happened. So he's putting himself in a good spot to succeed. You know, I definitely told the coaches, though, don't start him for 4 years. You know what I mean? He needs to learn. He needs to take his time so he doesn't have a chance at those records. You know, take his time. At least a couple. Got to sit for a couple of years. It's the best way to do it. You know, you've seen Mahomes.
Brain health,
you've seen Rodgers.
Look out for him
Brady.
first.
Yes,
exactly.
So,
I care about him. You know, I want him to succeed
as a person.
and that's so big of you. I mean, that's the kind of guy you are, Anthony. You're always looking out for the athlete.
Absolutely.
And on that note, I think we'll call the conversation. For those who don't know, all the passing records at USD currently have your name on them, don't they? Or most of them?
They do. They do. Most of them, yeah.
So, and you're not thinking about that because records are made to be broken, right?
Exactly. Well, yeah. Yeah.
But maybe a couple years to sit and learn the system.
Yeah, exactly.
You can enjoy it for a few years. That's good.
Thank you.
That's all we can ask
you.
for.
Anthony Lawrence, you can in 3, 2. Oh, Anthony, I'm going to post that. We'll start posting this stuff, maybe even today, and then tomorrow. Normally we do this on Tuesday, but to accommodate your busy schedule,
thank you.
We'll get it. You'll get an extra day of exposure, and we'll put it up everywhere, and we'll be talking about it tomorrow on our Sportscast with this guy. So expect a lot of people are going to see this. Okay.
Awesome. Appreciate you guys so much.
In 3, 2, 1, podcast is over. Turn off the machines.